I just finished reading a biography of Mark Twain, who was something of a personal hero of mine before I learned 1,200 pages of shit about the guy. Seriously, never meet your heroes. But before I read the book, I just knew Twain as a brilliant American thinker known for his witticisms and caustic vitriol, especially against religion. He's very much the thing that I aspire to be, at least on the surface. And he's also one of these people that I think of as sort of like one of the intellectual forefathers of modern atheism, if for no other reason than all his great quotes, right? I got to do the voice. Stripping away the irrational, the illogical, and the impossible, I am left with atheism. No God and no religion can survive ridicule. And, of course, the classic secular rebuttal to the fear of death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. Love doing the voice. But throughout the book, the biographer seems to want to rescue Twain from this perception. I don't know that the word atheist or atheism ever even fucking comes up. It probably does. It's a really long book. But there's remarkably little in there about the doubt, disbelief, and even contempt that he held for religion. I mean, the man was no skeptic. He fell for any number of snake oil cures and alternative therapies and shit, but he was vehemently anti-religious late in his life. And yet this crazy detailed tome not only skates past most of that, but actively undermines it. I'll give you a great example. Towards the end of the book, there's a point where Twain's daughter and his son-in-law want some kind of special treatment for some religious thing. And Twain's so famous that if he asks the cardinal or whatever, he'll grant him the favor. But Twain would be damned if he was going to ask any fucking priest for anything. So he sent a letter to an also very influential friend asking that friend to ask the cardinal instead. And in that letter, he explained, quote, I can't bring myself to ask a favor of that odious church whose history would disgrace hell and whose birth was the profoundest calamity that has ever befallen the human race except the birth of Christ. End quote. Now, that feels pretty fucking direct to me, but in a manner that is characteristic of his approach throughout, the author swoops in to explain that Twain didn't really mean what he said there, editorializing, quote, it was his final shotgun blast, not at religion per se, but at organized Christianity. But very clearly, he's aiming at religion per se. When he says the church, he's talking about the Christian fucking religion. That's just a euphemistic embodiment of the entire faith. He's not talking about the one fucking church where the event his daughter wanted to go was. He was reflecting on what a truly disgusting thing the Christian religion was and had been throughout its history. And yet, the author just can't allow that shit. So instead, he redirects Twain's invective towards organized Christianity. See, guys, it's not Christianity that's the problem. It's that damn organized part. As long as it's just chaotic and just laying on the floor like some spilled out Legos, it's fine. But once you start lining that shit up in orderly rows, it just really goes to shit. But what the fuck does that even mean, right? Because there isn't disorganized Christianity. That's not a thing. When you become a Christian, you don't select between the organized and disorganized type. You follow a doctrine that was set out by a church. You adhere to a theology that was promoted by an organization, even if you don't join a fucking church. It's literally impossible to take the Christianity and leave the organized, and yet that is their go-to defense. It's not the religion that's the problem, it's the organization. Of course, it really says something about your religion that in 2,000 fucking years, nobody's figured out a way to organize it in a way that couldn't aptly be described as the profoundest calamity that has ever befallen the human race, doesn't it? But even that's too much of a concession to this bullshit feign of an argument. Because when you stop letting them choose the terminology, the whole, it's not the religion that's the problem, it's organized religion thing translates to, it's not the action that's the problem, it's the consequences. And yet they've managed to hide behind that flimsy bullshit for centuries. It's a paper-thin intellectual justification to hold on to a religion that causes so much harm without ever taking responsibility for the harm. That wasn't my religion. That was some fucking organization that did that. But here's the thing. With apologies to Forrest Gump's mom for using a synonym here, religion is as religion does. Organized religion is religion. The church is the faith. And the very fact that they keep trying to divorce them is an admission of guilt that rings through millennia.